City, the Executive Director of Amana, South Sudan, the representative of Norwegian People's Aid, all the distinguished participants, the partners present, the World Bank, the civil society organizations, representatives of government institutions. I don't know whether representatives of anti-corruption is here.
Yes.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we are talking about your subject matter, but you have not been given a chance to say a word in the opening. I'm sure you will be given adequate time to participate in the deliberation later, but it was important for you to give highlights of your mandates and challenges. The women group present here, the youth group present, the media, the fourth estate. Very important in this fight. The fight against corruption, the fight for accountability will not succeed without the media. Without the media to carry out the message, the information, we shall be talking to ourselves. Assume that there was no media in this room, and we continue talking, and talking. The messages will remain in this room. They will not go out. So media fraternity is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel honored to be invited, I think for the second time, for this very important workshop. In the first workshop, I appreciated the NPA, Norwegian People's Aid, the humanitarian arm of the Norwegian government, who have been with us for the last 50 years. They have been supporting us, supporting our people, even during the toughest time in our history. Norwegian People's Aid were here, even the church aid, the NCA also was here. The subject matter, corruption. It's a very interesting topic. Why is it interesting? Because corruption victimizes the citizens, victimizes the people. Corruption takes away. It doesn't add. It takes away. It takes away from the government coffers. It takes away from the treasury. It promotes self-interest. Individuals promote their interests at the expense of others, at the expense of the citizens. They become rich. They become powerful. They earn what they have not worked for. They deviate from the norms of the social contract. That all of us, South Sudanese, equal citizens, equal tribes and ethnicities, ethnic groups, we have come together for the benefit and the welfare of all of us. We have come together to create commonwealth, to create public goods, roads, hospital, schools, bridges, airlines, transport systems, law and order, security, utilities. That is the purpose why we came together to create a state. And moreover, our state, we created it out of blood and iron. And we have lost many of our brothers and sisters. We have lost generations for us to create a state of our own. A state we said must be better than the ones we left. Corruption is the enemy. It destroys all these efforts. It destroys the aspiration of the people. What we conceive in 1940s, or even before, 1955, 1965, 1983, and beyond. Today is at the mercy of corruption. How can we realize the dreams which we set before us, which others convince themselves that it was noble, that they can die for such dreams? how can we realize development, provision of goods and services, public services for our people, if there are those who are privileged, who are at liberty to harvest that which belongs to the people for themselves, and they become very rich. They can buy lands, construct very huge fences, own apartments in the region, in Dubai, and nobody can touch them. Corruption is not consistent with the concept of budget. You budget, you plan how you will get resources from the oil and non-oil revenue. How you would borrow to fill the gaps that you have in your deficit budget. How the Ministry of Finance, at the end of the day, will have this money in the treasury in order to send to all the ministries and government institutions, in order to send to the states. But there is this one man and one woman who can just pick this money, take it for him or herself, and use it, and our law cannot get him or her. The question of corruption is an enemy of all of us. You have seen this narrative. They liken corruption to a rat. They say rats. I don't know, out of all animals, why they decide to choose rats. I thought there are other animals who are more uglier than rats. They could have chosen them. But in our case in South Sudan, we chose rats to resemble corruption. The public are even aware that actually corruption is in this country. So corruption and budget or budgeting, they are mutually adversely related. One should destroy the other. And since budgeting is a function of government, and government is made up of 3 arms, and government is the only sovereign authority in the country, is a powerful authority capable of enforcing the will of the people, enforcing law and order. How comes these individuals, because corruption is not a government policy, it's an individual interest. And these individuals, they are within our country. And you have a government budgeting, looking for resources day and night. And is unable to protect these resources from being looted. These individuals, who sometimes are gold rats, they are able to pick resources and avoid being arrested, or even these resources being recovered year in, year out. Even when the president declared zero tolerance on corruption some times ago, up to date, we have not arrested anybody. This is the paradox. This is the great paradox and also the great mystery in our system. Honorable members who are here and distinguished participants, if we want to build our country, we must stand on our feet. We must be honest to ourselves and face the corrupt head on. Otherwise, we shall continue losing resources. We will budget, and somebody will take. We will budget, an individual will take. At the end, we shall not have any development. And our time will come when we shall leave this world without realizing the dreams, the visions that is in our mind. Let me give you an example. The oil for roads, which is now a contentious issue in the parliament. The president, out of good intention, and also supported by the parliament, because in his State of the Nation address, he earmarked 30,000 barrels per day of crude oil for roads. This was monies that comes directly from the crude oil. 30,000 barrels daily committed for roads. in 2019. In 2021, in his State of Nation address, he again brought it to the Parliament. And the parliamentarians unanimously adopted the speech, the State of the Nation address, and it became a policy. Since 2019 up to 2023, January, 30,000 barrels of crude oil per day accrued to South Sudan $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion is not a small money. It would construct the Juba Bull Road. Thank God it has been constructed. Though some bridges, I'm told, are not completed. Juba Rumbek. Juba Bull Road is 151 kilometers. Juba Rumbek Road, 392 kilometers, would be constructed, still within $1.5 billion. Juba Nadafal Road, Juba Torit, Nadafal, 350 kilometers. Can be constructed within the $1.5 billion. We shall still be left with a balance of $144 million. This calculation is out of the rate per kilometer as designed by the Ministry of Roads and Bridges. If you calculate, you can go and get the rate by yourself if you want to verify what I'm talking about. You will still be left with $144 million, which you can extend the road from Rumbek to Barkazal. Wow, what up? I will. Or if that one is not the priority, you can have roads from Juba, Yamio, and the border of Central African Republic, or Juba, Ye, and the border of Congo, within the $1.5 billion. But as we speak today, we only have the Juba Bull Road, the Juba Rumbek Road, only from Juba to Terekeka, 63 kilometers of tarmac. The rest of this money I don't know where it is. And now in the parliament we are asking Wenu Shari. Lo sharia mafi, wenu grush. Lo grush mafi, wenu sharia. It is now a very big burning bush in the parliament, which is consuming some of us. And we are not going to, we will stop at nothing until we know what the $1.5 billion have done. Because this money doesn't belong to an individual. The president, out of good intention, and with his cabinet, prioritize infrastructural development. Now we are complaining about the borders being grabbed. Of course, we know our neighbors have become unfaithful. They have abandoned Pan-African spirit. They are now cutting chunks of our land at the border with the Pangas. Dealing with them includes strategic thinking, including if we had constructed Juba Nathanial Road and then Uganda is misbehaving along the borders, including arresting and detaining our citizens, encroaching violently, because they see that we are over-dependent on them. The Juba Nathanial Road can be an alternative route while we are quarreling with Uganda over the border. But now where's the road and where's the road? We can also have another access route through Ethiopia. We want to lessen dependency and vulnerabilities that comes with dependency. You don't need to go for war over the borders. We need to realign our strategic priorities and deal with them. They will come online by themselves. But we are here uncapped. This is just one aspect. Just one aspect of the budget on the road. Humbly lie, in the current budget, capital allocation to the Ministry of Roads is zero. Why? Because the parliament made noise. They said, without knowing how the oil for roads is being used and managed, it will be unwise to allocate or to continue allocating funds for roads. This is what the parliament have done, and the executive that has listening ears, they were able to send for us budgets with zero allocation for roads. So this money now, we shall channel it to other priorities, including paying salaries for the civil servants and other government functions. Because the lack of salaries is a headache that we don't want to hear. Chapter 1 of our budget is not being executed. Salaries of teachers, of doctors, of engineers These are services, procurement for services. If you don't pay teachers and he stops work, or is reluctant, or is pursuing other means to sustain him or herself, including the doctors, that means the services, health, education is not being provided. We are under obligation as a government to pay for salaries. Moreover, is even part of human rights, that a labor must be paid just wages. So, distinguished participants, this topic is a very important topic. We are South Sudanese. We don't have any other country. The only country we have is this one. If we go to any other country, we'll either be guests, visitors, or aliens. We must exhaust all our energies to plan a better one for us, for our children, and for the next generation. As you travel, some of you will travel. I actually don't feel like traveling. Because I'm a very jealous person. To see a good thing or to see goodies in other countries, while in my country I don't see, or we struggle with the hardship to achieve what others have achieved. It depends. So here we have opportunity in such forum and other forum that we will plan, that we have to speak the truth, we have to help the government. And by the way, blames should not be one way. I know others blame the government. They don't blame themselves. Government is not in a vacuum. Government has citizens, and within the citizens we have civil society organizations. We have the media. We have professional groups. We expect them to contribute to national building. As a government, we shall not judge ourselves. We should be judged by others. The media expose us. Civil society expose us. Yes, we have three arms. We check and balance one another in that regard. But if our checks and balance is not going far enough, we expect the civil society, we expect the professionals group, we expect the media to bring issues to bear so the government will respond to them. The parliament may be overwhelmed because parliament comprises of political parties. Others may be majority, others may be minority, and so on. What if majority decide to take away the country? Are you going to leave them to do so? Because they have voted in a resolution and pass it? No. The citizens must come forward and play their role. With these remarks, members, participants, this is a very important workshop. I wish you productive and fruitful deliberation. And I want to thank also those who came to attend, the government officials who were invited here, the Juba City Deputy Mayor is here, those from the Parliament, Amalna, South Sudan for organizing this, and NPA for supporting this. I urge you to continue supporting such programs, not only with Amalna, or even those agencies should continue supporting programs that shall contribute effectively to national building and reconstruction of our country. I declare the workshop open.